Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video, I'd like to briefly discuss the importance of the Rejoin March next month in the context of the strategy to join the EU and to answer a question that James O'Brien on his show today considered to be quite difficult, impossible even. In fact, the answer is very simple. People just like to complicate it. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel. So for the first time, I was actually prompted to ring into James O'Brien's phone-in show on LBC this morning. It was related to the question of why people should attend the Rejoin March this September, assuming they're able to, of course. I was sort of in the queue to speak, then they moved on to a different topic. Not a problem. As it happens, I have my own way of getting messages out there. But what I was going to say, I'd expanded a little, I think, when I was listening to what was going to be the previous caller touching on the subject of how do we tip the public to demanding action? How do we get to that critical mass? And James O'Brien was saying, well, he doesn't know the answer. The answer's straightforward. The practical application, not always simple. The individual tactics, tricky. But the strategy, stunningly simple. And it's twofold. The first, and this is related to the Rejoin March, is visibility. We know from polling that lots of people around the country know that Brexit has been a disaster. A great many of them want to join the EU. And we know from polling it's basically a majority now. But these people are not connected. There's no network connecting them. There are some trying, but none with a major public presence. So that connection isn't there yet. So those people are thinking it. They might even be saying to the families, they don't realise they're part of a much larger group of people thinking the same thing. You know, we're really up against it. The mainstream media promote Brexit. They promote the idea that the public are good with Brexit, or at the very least, they make excuses for Brexit. So how can we get this visibility? Well, we do need the mainstream media to report on events like the Rejoin March. We can't create our own mainstream media. But the mainstream media won't. They won't report on it, will they? No, indeed. Other than the odd one, sticking it in some darkened corner of their website. Getting events in the media is very much like I've been saying we'll need to do to negotiate deals with the EU. It's the same principle. We need to be very clear about what we want the outcome to be. And we need to make sure that what we want aligns with what our negotiating partner wants. In this case, our negotiating partner would be media outlets. What do they want? Clicks, engagements. Traditional media is struggling. There's so much competition for people's attention. It's never been like it. It's getting harder and harder for the traditional media outlets to maintain their influence. You know, if someone is engaging, if it will get the clicks, they will report on it. They want people on their website. That's really all there is to it. The specifics are tricky, of course. You want a stunt which is going to attract viewers if outlets report on it, but not pissing off the public by, say, blocking roads. You want entertaining rather than aggravating. Not easy. That's why the tactics are not straightforward. But that is how it is done. But aside from that, we need to show that there is widespread public support for joining the EU, to let people know they're not alone or even in a small minority. Remember in 2019, when Nigel Farage tried to counter the huge People's Vote protest by leading his own Brexit army into London. Oh, you get 1 million people? No problem. I'll just march into London with 2 million. He abandoned the march fairly quickly, do you remember? Because he actually attracted very few people to walk with him. The enduring image for me was of him on top of an empty bus with a face like a sad donkey. If that had been a Remain campaign, the media would have savaged it as a loony fringe effort, swimming against the tide of public opinion. When we put on events, they need to be so well supported. It's impossible for the media to go, look, there's like 3 people there. The National Rejoin March in London, the second since Brexit, must get bigger each year to match the growth in polling figures showing increasing numbers who want to rejoin the EU. Make it impossible to dismiss the scale of the movement. They can either talk about the event, in which case they'll have to acknowledge how well attended it was, or they can not talk about it at all. But never let them be able to dismiss it as a fringe. It's not fringe, but the perceptions are really important. Like, I hate travelling. I don't get on well with busy places, so going to London is like my idea of a nightmare. But I will be going again. Not everyone can, of course, but the reason for them being in London all the time is because it gives the campaigners the best chance of a large gathering and that visibility. And visibility is what's needed for people to not just think that Brexit's turned out badly and tell their mates that, and the mates go, yeah, it's terrible, isn't it? But for them to realise they're part of a much larger group. In fact, far from alone, they are actually part of the majority. The second strand to the strategy is understanding steps. People think in terms of a binary reversal. We need to join the EU. But there's not going to be a transition which takes us from the extreme Tory Brexit we have right now to EU membership. Even for a country fully behind joining the EU, there are lots of steps they have to take, lots of phases to go through. And we've got baggage. It's going to be extra complicated for us. But the process is again simple. The Chinese even were thoughtful enough to come up with a proverb centuries before we needed to pay attention to it. Be not afraid of moving slowly. Be only afraid of standing still. Make a step towards the EU. Then another and another. People complain, for example, Labour, they're committed to staying out the EU. Words. What are their actions? Are their policies moving us in that direction of rejoining? When you want to get somewhere and there's a bus in that direction, get on it. Doesn't matter what the destination is, get on the bus. Are Labour proposing driving that bus towards the EU? But they won't say that's where they're going. Are they going in that direction? Yes, get on the bloody bus. If the bus at some point in the future stops or changes direction, you can get off at that point. You'll still be much closer to your destination. But while it's going in the direction you want, get on the bus. And the more people that are on that bus who want to go all the way, the more chance the bus will do just that. We aren't going to join the EU by pressing a button. It's not a case of waiting for either Labour or the Conservatives to commit to join the EU. They will never do it until voters demand it. So increase the number of voters demanding it and keep moving in that direction while you do it, step by step. With each step, we move closer. If we stand still, we still need to take those same steps to get there. So we're just wasting time. And with each step we take, things get better. We can show people that things are getting better because we took a step in the right direction. With each step, it gets easier to tell people that this is the right direction. After all, we've just had recent history of taking big leaps in the other direction and things got a lot worse. And with every extra step in the wrong direction, things got worse still. Show the reverse now. Show that when we move backwards, things get better, but that they won't get better still until we keep making those steps. We need to keep making more steps. With every step, it will get better. But we also need to keep those conversations going with people. It's not enough just to have the steps and for things to get better. We have to show people, oh, we took that step. This is better now. So for that, we need the visibility as well. How do we get people to that tipping point? It's not impossible to know. It's not even difficult. Connect people. There's already a majority who know Brexit is a disaster. Let them know that they are part of the majority. Join in. Go to the Rejoin March if you can. Join the European movement or the Labour movement for Europe or whichever equivalent exists for any political party you're a member of. Boost membership of the groups who are trying to create that visibility, because those groups are trying to get themselves onto the media. They're trying to talk about this from the clearest platforms they can. The more members they represent, the harder it is for the media to ignore them as fringe, and take every step you can. When Arnold Schwarzenegger was in training ahead of becoming Mr. Universe, he was asked why he was smiling with every grueling exercise he did. Other bodybuilders were expressing the pain they felt in their muscles, not him. He was smiling. Why? Because it's all getting me to my goal, he said. Be not afraid of moving slowly. Be only afraid of standing still. But there we are. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. I hope you found the video interesting. If you did, please click the like button. And if you'd like to support the channel further, the join button for memberships. And until next time, I'll see you later.